All right, we're back on air. T Sibs and Brody Mac, and sorry for the technical problems. We think we have everything straightened out. This wouldn't be a broadcast with me and Brody if there wasn't a damn technical issue. But I think we have Brody back. You there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. We should be good to go now. Hopefully, this has been pretty odd.
Yeah, to say the least. Um, let's just. I tell you what. Let's just get to the point where we are talking about the future and what's going on with the league and with LG in general. Um, Talk about what the overall plan is for 2017 for the site itself. What types of things are you guys looking to do that would be pretty interesting to the listeners, and what might be some big changes that are coming down, to as much as you can actually talk about them.
So, obviously, the pick'em system is set up right now, right? You guys have seen that? Like it's
Yeah.
for playoffs. So that's Trez worked on that a bit today. I think he added in leaderboards and some other pretty cool things for that. So that was been adjusted. What also is pretty neat too is Zenforo, our forum software, has been putting out 2.0 patch notes. They're looking to upgrade their systems and stuff as well too, which is pretty cool. Some of the stuff they're having to offer that'll be out in probably the next couple months is extremely interesting for what we could do here for LG. So we've definitely been looking at a lot of the updates and trying to pick and choose if there's things that we can do to upgrade. And so we have been looking at that quite a bit. It'll just make make the site better and offer a lot more things and showcase a lot more things that we're looking to do. Before I got on the show with you earlier too, Triz did say that there was another new feature coming. Nuge TV posted a pretty cool idea that would allow members to actually compare individual like stats, right? So I could pull up my stats to compare how many times I've played against you. So my record versus just you in 6v6 games and how many points I have compared to how many points that you have, right? That really showcases and breathes more into our virtual career stuff. A lot of people like to talk talk shit to each other and talk about who's better and who's not. So what better way to do that than to say, versus you in games, big games, playoff games, seasonal games, whatever it may be. This is my record against you. So obviously I'm better than you. So that is a new feature that I'm not sure if he has it already set up or if it's going to be set up next week, but he definitely has put together some stuff to make that work. It's actually a pretty cool idea, pretty cool feature. He said he'll have a couple screenshots for me. Hopefully tomorrow, actually. So when I take this video and I do a quick write-up, I can give you guys a couple examples of kind of a couple examples of what's going on for that system. But it'd be probably pretty neat, so you can actually compare yourself to individual people, kind of create some more personal rivalries and stuff like that. So
yeah, there's obviously plenty of chirping that goes on in the chat boxes, and and that's what it is mostly, is just a lot of crap talk. Oh, I beat you this one time. Well, but the time before that, it's just nonsensical bullshit. And it would be nice to be able to say, okay, well, if you're going to talk shit, well, here are the actual numbers of what I've done against you when I've played you. And you can talk about all the other players that played with you those days, and that's fine. But, the honest truth is, here's what it is. And I think it's never going to stop the chirping, because there are always going to be people who want to talk crap no matter what. But it'd be really interesting to see how they respond to cold, hard facts. And I think that'll be really, really fun to see you guys get frustrated with that.
Yeah, it'll be really good when someone says I'm better than you, but then the head-to-head record shows that you've never beat them before. So
Yeah.
that'll be a very interesting system. So we'll see how this plays out.
Anything for hockey in general? Are there any thoughts or decisions that have to be made with just the general running of an NHL league, of the AHL, the CHL, the structure of these leagues, the participation that we've gotten? From what you've seen so far with season 4 for PSN, for NHL. Are there anything? Is there anything in particular that you see that you guys are maybe looking to adjust to make it a better league experience for everyone?
Expansion is definitely a hot topic and a hot commodity. I'd like to see us continue to grow the CHL. There's definitely a lot of room for the CHL to grow, right? So, with that being said, I think that we should spend time to kind of grow that, make it bigger. The CHL will continue to be like the entry focal point of the league, right? So as we bring in new players, there'll be CHL eligible players, which will really help us grow that brand, that league. One of the biggest things and the steps we took forward in the Xbox League that really worked was is we were able to reach out to the CHL community and we were able to bring in 60 managers. So bringing in 60 managers maxes out the CHL, and then we brought them in with a stipulation that if you want to maintain your ownership status for the season as a CHL owner, go recruit, because if there's not enough people, we're going to have to start cutting managers.
Right.
That's quite a bit of motivation for people to go bring new players to LG, and it has been pretty successful for 2 seasons in a row on Xbox. So I'm hoping that this season when I sit down with Haji and the staff, we can talk about, okay, well, how many guys do we have that want to come back? How many new guys can we add? And then can we put the onus on these new managers to go out there and recruit people to make it better. The forfeit numbers, I think, for all the leagues this season were extremely high. The only league that I can say, I have the numbers in front of me right now, the only league I can say right now that I'm pretty happy with and pretty impressed with is the CHL league on PlayStation. They had the lowest forfeit numbers out of any league out there. So just to kind of give you an example, the NHL at the PSN level, so there's 15 games a night, and then there's 9 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 158 games a week, times that by 9 weeks. So in a season, there's roughly 1 second times 159. Oh my god, my calculator sucks too. Yeah, so roughly 1,431 games in a season, like that are played, right? So out of those games, we've had 53 forfeits at the NHL level. Not terrible, not crazy, but definitely think something to improve on. At the CHL level, obviously less games because there's less teams, but at the CHL level, we only had 13 forfeits this season, which is pretty impressive. That's definitely something we're going to strive towards and get the games played. At the AHL level, AHL had more forfeits than the NHL level with 58. So I definitely think the forfeit stuff is what we need to work on and really focus on. Make sure the games end up getting played. That being said, too, I do understand there's a lot of issues with the game. There's not being able to connect, and the pin system also makes it really difficult for you to even see if it is a forfeit or not, because are people around, are people not around? So that's something we're gonna have to look at. We're gonna review and refresh the forfeit procedures and the game night procedures to make them really specific. Make it very obvious to everyone. In this situation, you can take a forfeit. In this situation, you cannot. These are the guidelines. Make it all public. Make it posted. Push it out. Send it as a PM. Just make sure every player in the league gets a copy of that, so they all understand, what it is we're looking for and what the expectations are. So.
Now there was a lot of definitely a lot of discussion in management chat, and this is my first season in the AHL management chat. And obviously, there's a lot of always going to be complaining in there. I think that's a given. But certainly, a lot of owners, not owners, but a lot of GMs and AGMs talking about dealing with the loss of players that wind up being taken up in the NHL, that wind up being part of packages, trade packages. It is a part of the game in the real game. Obviously, AHL management always has to deal with that from the big club, and that's nothing unknown. I think what a lot of AHL management feels is that there just seems to be a lot of movement and a lot of reckless abandon. It's a 9-week season. It's over quickly, and if you're going to make moves, you can't hesitate, and you have to move and move quickly. And I think in the long run, a lot of the smarter, better AHL management folks understand that, but there's a level of frustration of, okay, well, what kind of say am I going to have? And we certainly have had issues where guys quit the league, had to take suspensions because they felt like they had no say in what their team was going to do. And so there was a lot of this discussion about is there something that can be done to have some sort of a simple contract between the management in the NHL team and the management with the AHL to say, okay, if you're going to be my management, well, here are the guidelines that we both have to agree upon. And if you can't do it, I'll find somebody else. But if you can do it, let's sign this and agree upon it. Is it something that makes any kind of sense at this point in season, starting season 5, uh, or even sooner than that? I mean, is there any point in having some kind of agreement like that with management? It is much tougher than the real game because you don't a lot of times you don't know these guys that well, and you're trying to have some sort of chemistry with them and get things done. Does it make sense to have anything like that to help out the management folks and maybe keep the better ones who and not let them be frustrated?
So it's a good point, and a lot of things change over time. And the biggest thing, the teams that are most successful are the teams that have a strong relationship between the NHL owner and the AHL GM. Like that's something that you have to initiate right from the beginning. And one thing that we need to preach better and make sure it's very clear to our owners is our owners need to sit down with their AHL GMs and talk about, this is how I want to run the team. This is the direction I want to go. And the AHL GM then has to make a decision if they are on board with that decision or if they are looking to go find another owner that fits their more style of play. At the end of the day, we're selecting 30 owners. Those 30 owners we're giving the responsibility to select their own management for. I don't want to sit down and have to approve 60, 70, 90 managers. It's not something we want to do. We're just going to try to pick the best 30 owners based off of the applications that we actually have and then move forward from there. But that being said, we need to do a better job to make sure that our owners are communicating to those people who are hired as NHL managers and as AHL managers, kind of what the expectations are and kind of the direction they're looking to go. The other thing to keep in mind too, as the league gets bigger and better and we bring in more players and we have more people graduate player statuses, the more people that become ineligible for certain levels. So one of the biggest things the CHL always complains about and will complain about until we can get to the size and the limits that the Xbox League has is call-ups. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, in a 3-tier system, the lower you are on the ladder, the more likely you're going to see people being called up. It sucks, but it's also something you have to accept.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna put your name down for in a management application for the AHL or CHL level, and you're going to accept one of these positions, before you actually accept the position, you have to ask yourself if you're comfortable enough to understand that by doing this, you are going to open yourself up to these issues, and these are things you have to deal with. And if they're things you do not want to deal with, then it's time for you to try to move up the ladder or don't take a management position. Those are kind of your only two options. But if you're willing to step up, manage a team because you can do a good job, then you have to be able to accept the fact that any given time your players can be called up and try your best to work with your owner to maintain stuff. Because even too, the ECU rules are pretty lax right now, which do allow an AHL team to better support an NHL team. At the end of the day, obviously the cream of the crop are going to rise up. So if the NHL team loses a top PAL player due to inactivity or a ban, potentially the best AHL player on their affiliate team will get called up to fill that void. That's just like real life. That's the way it is. And once again, there's nothing, as much as people want to be upset and complain about it, this is a simulation hockey league. If you want something different, well, that's why we offer Pro Series to play with your friends. So you have to take those things into consideration. That being said, too, like I'm looking at the ownership application right now that Haji put together, and it's well done. But the one thing I did this season on the Xbox side was I kind of put not, I guess, per se a job description, so everyone has an understanding of what they're getting themselves into and what the expectations are for us. I'll edit his post later on, make another post so everyone can kind of see that this is what's going on. This is the direction we're going. So prior to you applying for these positions, you can kind of read and go, okay, this is what the expectations are from the league.
Right.
Do I really want to be a part of this? And then once we select the 30 owners, I'll have the PlayStation guys take the time to sit down with those 30 owners and make it very clear that, hey, listen, this is the way things are going to be. That being said, there has been some discussions from the owners in regards to having the ability to draft up management contracts. So this contract would say the do's and don'ts. So if I'm your owner and you're an AHL GM, and I'll put in things that I expect of you. If you don't meet those expectations, I can fire you per se. But it also kind of lays everything out on the line. Okay, listen, like as the owner, this is what I want from you. If you don't meet these expectations, you're gone. And then as an AHL GM, now you have kind of boundaries to work within. And I think the guys that are successful at being at the lower tier management are the guys that start the season off talking to the owner and saying, okay, what are my limitations? What do you want me to do? What are things going on? What are your plans for the draft? Because sometimes the drafted players end up spending a couple seasons in the AHL. So just kind of give me a better understanding of what you're looking for our organization moving forward. And that's what tends to be the best. We run into issues when people don't have those discussions and don't make talks, especially when it comes down to bidding. AHL GMs just assume their owners want nothing to do with the bidding session, when it turns out the owner has a lot of plans that are a lot different than what the GMs are, and they don't have those discussions until 10 minutes after bidding has gone live. So issues like that can be avoided by just better working together and better communication, and just understanding that you guys are a team and the expectation is for you to work together as a team to come to a common goal.
Is there any reason why you might do something like just have a situation where you've got 3 separate leagues and just a bunch of TC players on every level instead of having this tier? Or do we want to keep this more realistic as to what the real league does?
I've thought about what you just said, and it doesn't really work, because you have to ask yourself a question. Do you want to sit on a training camp for the NHL level in the hopes of maybe being called up, or do you want to play full-time hours at the AHL level? And
Right.
most people are going to want to play full-time. So the systems work really well. The end game and the ideal goal that we could get the PlayStation League to be would be to keep the NHL and AHL affiliation as tight as possible, to keep bringing back really good owners who probably in turn continue to bring back the same core management team at the AHL level because they have a strong working relationship, and keep that direct affiliation, keep the waiver exemption for amateur players and have them work as a better unit. Then take the CHL, expand the CHL to a full 60 teams, whereby prospect players have no eligibility to play in any league but the CHL. So that also gives more for the CHL to work towards. It gives them more value in their promotions, because if they go out and bring in 200 new prospect players, those prospect players are only going to be in the CHL. They can't go up into any other tiers, except of course for ECU purposes. And that gives the CHL comfort. Having the strong relationship between the NHL manager and the AHL manager gives that a strong relationship, and then the league from there kind of works its way through. And then as we work down the road, we can look at restrictions on player types. So we can look at restrictions like players that sign up late, like a player that's a veteran signs up late, make restrictions on those. So those players are limited to 1 per AHL team, or limited to no per AHL team, depending on what level of depth we're looking at, to keep the competitive advantage, and also to keep the bidding sessions the more true and fair way to build teams. So I think the system with training camps could work. The only problem is people would never want to sit at the highest tier training camp and not play games, when they could just play in the lower tier and actually play games, right? So
Right.
I think we have to kind of maintain what we have now, and we need buy-in. We're in the playoffs of season 3, so we're heading into season 4. So we need people just to believe in the system. The Xbox side has seen 25 seasons of this structure, and it works fine, and they're 3,500 players deep. And this season they were 4 tiers rather than 3 tiers. So the proof is all there that the system works. The PlayStation guys just need to believe in the systems, and buy into it, remain active, and then ask questions. Like I'm always available to answer questions or listen to suggestions, or bring things forward, or whatever it may be. If people just want to talk about the league in general, and bring the stuff up, or just have questions about why is this the way it is, like send me a message. I answer a ton of PMs every day, and I'd gladly take the time to sit down with everyone and answer those questions per se. So that's definitely something I think that the lines of communication, I think in season 3 were a lot better than what they were in season 2. So I'm hoping that in season 4, they'll be even better than what they were this season. Like I said, I'd like to be as active as possible. Obviously, I don't have a PlayStation and don't play in the league, so I do like to spend the time in the reading the chat box, reading the PlayStation forums to hear what other people have to say. But definitely, if people have questions or concerns or ideas, or just want to talk about the league in general, I really want to make sure that everyone understands that the door is always open, and feel free to send me those messages.
So let's head towards the discussion of the league and the entire League Gaming site, and where you guys are headed in the next year. Obviously, we've talked about expansion in some of the leagues, and that's always where you guys are heading, is to get more players involved, and that makes total sense. But are there other areas of the gaming world and the expectations of what they want from a site like yours that are heading towards making changes that are maybe a little bit off the beaten path of what we're used to seeing, that you guys are thinking of some things down the road that maybe we're not thinking of that could mean a big difference to the site. What kinds of things are you looking to do to set up for the future of League Gaming? What are you looking to do in this next year?
So a couple ideas that have come to the forefront that I've put the bug in other people's ears is like, for an example, I've said to EA several times that if they ever decide to go the road of Call of Duty, Call of Duty runs a lot of like third party hosted tournaments per se. So maybe this week this website's putting on a Call of Duty tournament. Prizes are all given by the actual guys who make the game, blah blah blah. If EA ever decided to go down the route of having third party tournaments, or even if it was one a year where they just wanted to wash their hands free of all the bullshit and all the regulations and all the scheduling and the standings and whatnot, and they just wanted to give out prizes, that I definitely LG would open their doors to running official tournaments for them. I put that bug in their ears several times. So I'm hoping that if I keep preaching it, maybe one day that door will open up. One of my line mates from this season, pretty good guy. He's in the advertisement, marketing, that kind of world. He's made some pretty cool suggestions to try to get certain things sponsored. So get the website sponsored by certain brands. So we were looking in the avenues of talking to companies like Forzani that own Sport Check. They own Hockey Life, like the big hockey brand stores, to get into communication with them to have them sponsor LG. So it'll be like the LG NHL PlayStation brought to you by Sport Check or whatever it may be, right? So those type of sponsorships that could bring a little bit of money to the website, we could do a lot of things with, whether it be prizes, whether it be game titles. Obviously me having the link to EA now, being able to get game titles and stuff at reasonable prices would definitely be something we could look at, because we could go pick up a bunch of games from them, then we could give them away on the website. We could look at Xbox Live codes. So there's lots of different things that we could look at to really increase the brand and make everything a lot better. The other thing that I've been looking at, the forfeit numbers that we've seen for Pro Series on the Xbox and on the PlayStation side were atrocious. I do understand that the game has a lot of aspects for that, but Pro Series Xbox saw 180 games forfeited, and then Pro Series PlayStation saw like 160 games forfeit, which is ridiculous for like a league that only runs for 4 weeks and then in the playoffs. So I do know Frost is back into the mix, which is kind of nice. He's a pretty good asset to have for the competitive side of that. So he does have some plans that he posted today that I did read through. So my plan is to sit down with him and go over a few other ideas and stuff to kind of really see if we can kind of revitalize the Pro Series brand, perhaps utilize the open and invite division features that we have on the Xbox side to utilize that to bring in more clubs. So we could go out, you could do some invitations, come play Pro Series, bring a couple more sixes clubs in that aren't probably a part of LG, and then that could filter into more numbers being involved in the free simulation leagues per se. So there's definitely a lot of aspects on that road that I think we could explore better, and really make the hockey brand bigger and better than ever before. So that's kind of the things I've been thinking of.
There is a follow-up question to that about the Pro Series. It's interesting because people are paying for this league, and they seemingly want to play with a bunch of guys that they like playing with and used to playing with. How does that not succeed? How do players not want to play and wind up forfeiting games? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of it blows my mind too. Maybe it's just because it's only $10, and people are willing to pay $35 to buy out their band. So what's $10 to them per se? I don't know. I have no idea what to tell you, but it's really unfortunate. And I've been talking a lot with some other people about some ideas of how to kind of change the system and change how things are going to be run. I have some pretty cool ideas that I can't really go into details about now. There's some stuff that EA kind of mentioned to me too that they've always thought about trying. So I kind of was like, well, give me your ideas and how you would run it and I'll try it kind of thing. So I'm kind of waiting to see how this is all going to play out. And I might take some of their ideas and utilize it in a couple rounds of Pro Series and kind of see how this plays out. But at this point in time, I'm not 100% sure the direction we're going to go or what I really want to do with it. But I do know that there's definitely a market for something a little bit more competitive, something that offers a prize. So that being said, we just need to really figure out a system that is the most competitive system whereby we can't see things. that would have occurred, like the forfeit system. The PlayStation side is yet to really see it, but the Xbox side definitely had some pretty bad experiences this season in regards to forfeits. There were some intentional forfeits that occurred to prevent a certain team from making the playoffs. The first place. So how the system worked, from my understanding, was the fact that if you didn't get a game played, it could be rescheduled. At the end of the season, the first place team was already in first place by a long shot. The teams that they had those makeup scheduled games for were chasing a certain team that were in the playoffs. So the number one team practically said, okay, well, if we just forfeit, we still maintain first place, but then you get to bump out a team that are in the playoffs that we don't particularly like. So let's just go that route. So we definitely saw a little bit of that on the Xbox side, which is really cutthroat, especially because, that's one of the reasons why we saw the Pro Series leader on the Xbox side decide to walk away from everything competitive on the LG and take a step back and not want to be part of it anymore because, you can't really get back your countless hours in time that you've put into, 8 seasons of Pro Series to bring it to what it is, to only have yourself get fucked over by a group of people that, perhaps acted in a pretty immature manner. So those are things that we're looking to avoid in the future. Obviously, when you put money on the table, people are cutthroat, but at the same time, we want to be able to maintain the most competitive environment that's as fair as possible for everyone involved. So that's definitely a struggle. It's something that I do think there's value to in having having it here. We just have to weigh, is it worth the headaches? Is it worth the bullshit to continue to offer something like this if the systems are just going to keep getting gamed and keep getting taken advantage of? Because if that's the case, then we don't really want to continue to go that route just to simply see it be completely taken advantage of over and over. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at right now when it comes to the competitive side for Pro Series on both consoles. So we're going to, like I said, reevaluate. Holidays are coming up, so I'll definitely have some time to sit back and think about what we should really do moving forward.
What other games do you see coming on the horizon that are good candidates for the League Gaming site and for the kind of competition that you guys look for in the leagues that you already have? Any other games that you think are on the horizon soon for LG?
I don't really know. Like I said, I really think there's a ton of room to expand the site in general through soccer. I think the Xbox guys that handle soccer do a hell of a job at doing it. And I keep preaching that, if you think big and you think outside the box and you try to bring in brand specific players that are dedicated to soccer, and we go after other leagues because we know we have a better website and we can do better than what these other sites are doing, I think we'll be able to utilize it a lot better. I do think it would be pretty cool for us to see this European league come over and to kind of make sporting way better. The shooter stuff, there's always a market for the shooter stuff and have competitive leagues for the shooter stuff. But like I said, it really takes a lot of dedication to do what we do. Those of you who have run leagues or have been part of league staff or even have been a manager in a league, you really understand, have a really good feel and a really good taste for what it takes to be at that level and to be a part of it and to really make all this work. And after 6 years and almost 20 seasons of me being a commissioner and at this level, and 60 to 80 PMs a day, and notifications on GroupMe, Skype, Facebook, the website, it definitely definitely takes a special type of person to continue to do this. And I think if we can bring in the right people, but that's what we're always looking for, just the right people that think long term. Just don't think about the next 5 weeks, think about the next 5 years and dedicate some time. I think we could really make grounds on pretty much anything that anyone ever wanted to do. So I just think, once again, when it comes to this type of stuff, you have to really be focused and be in it for the long run, because the short term benefits are never really there. You don't really see much until you put several years into this, and then you got to look back at what you've accomplished and be proud of it. So I think that's the only way we'll really see the website expand beyond what we already have right now.
And what about the leagues that we have now that we see on LG? What which ones have surprised you in their success and the dedication of the players? Of the newer ones that we see out there now that you guys are hosting on LG. Which ones have been a real pleasant surprise with the participation of the players?
Rocket League seems to be pretty cool, right? Like, a lot of guys love that game, so it was kind of nice to be able to add something that's a little bit outside the scope of sports per se, and have a little bit of a place for those players to play. So I think that's a pretty neat a pretty neat aspect as well. I think that we can also pick up ground in other aspects like Friday Night Puck, and we can look at some stuff like that to really make that take off a little bit better. The original concept for Friday Night Puck, I think, is brilliant. I think it's a pretty cool aspect to play, and it's a pretty wicked idea. So we could kind of take a couple different aspects of it. Maybe we can we can offer like Thursday afternoon fucking hockey, where it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You don't work today. It's kind of the same idea. Or we look at Sunday afternoon pickup or whatever it may be. Right? We could definitely utilize that system a little bit differently. The hut side of the stuff too, we could definitely spend more time coming up with a competitive side of hut. We could actually um, the pro series of hot would be pretty cool. Just it'd have to be done properly because everyone's looking to earn a little bit of money or win something important. So it'd be kind of cool to have these competitive level tournaments in different aspects of the game that would offer people the opportunity to win bigger prizes than just virtual trophies and bragging rights.
So let's talk about some of the things that are coming up very quickly for League Gaming. I know there are a couple of things that you want to talk about specifically, some announcements that you want to make. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about what to expect down the road in the near future for League Gaming?
So, this season is going to be a little bit different coming into season 4 and coming into season 26. I think the biggest thing right now is we're many seasons away um, from what we originally put together when we were on a different website. So we're trying to, the thing that you'll probably hear me say a lot over the next little while is just getting back to the basics and being able to um, do things a little bit differently to make it a little bit better. So I've been trying to not reinvent the wheel, but kind of reevaluate how we're handling things as staff and how we're communicating things to managers. And if there's a better way to handle things moving forward to allow us to um, better just do this better. Make it more fun, make it more exciting, and so on and so forth. The amount of people that are potentially walking away from the leagues on both consoles, just simply due to the game, um, is is disheartening. A lot of us have put a lot of time into managing these leagues, and we've been at the mercy of EA's product for so long that it's disappointing to be able to see, that we've worked so hard to get the league to where it is, only to see 500 players decide not to play next season because of the game or because of the servers and stuff. So I'm trying to make it so I'm trying to come up with a system that's fair, just, and also allows a better experience for people to play within the boundaries of the league, but also for the league not to contribute to that stressful frustration atmosphere that the game sometimes does offer for us. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at right now in regards to balance for that kind of stuff. So um, we're also going to look at, like I said, the biggest thing that I'm probably going to try to think about and touch base with some people about is just like league promotion. I think we could do a way better job at promoting the league to bring more people to the website, which I think would be really, really beneficial, especially for the PlayStation side. It seems like the PlayStation side, um, this is a very I wouldn't say new, but this is a very a fun experience for a lot of the PlayStation guys. And the appreciation level is right there, and the interest level is extremely high. Where some of my Xbox guys that have been around for a long time are kind of have a stale taste in their mouth because it's been relatively the same for them for 10, 15, 20 seasons, right? So I think that we need to take advantage of the enthusiasm and the passion that we're seeing on the PlayStation side to really grow this brand as well. That being said, I think that we've also utilized and been able to take advantage of the partnership we have with Xbox and the our API systems to make a better account system and so on and so forth. So that's kind of what we're looking to do for the PlayStation side. I know Triz has taken the time to yet again fill out another application process to become part of the development team for Sony. If that's possible, that's how we got the Xbox APIs as well. If that is possible, that would open a million doors for us. It would revamp the OCR. It would change account verification. It would bring in player clips. It would just really make the PlayStation side of the league even more head and heels above anyone that's considered a competitor. So those are things that we're trying to focus on. The Xbox side is definitely going to be in transition. I keep saying so. Be transition from some of the veteran people. We're going to see the torch be passed over the next 2 or 3 seasons, from experienced guys to guys that have been around but maybe not have the same management experience, which is acceptable. Like when I first started this, I think I was 22, 21 years old. And now I'm 28. Life changes a lot in those times. Guys finish school, guys get married, guys have kids, right? So we're seeing a lot of the community change per se. So it's time to pass the torch, but continue on and doing what we're doing. Maybe the days are gone where we've had the most competitive experience, but I do have hope and faith that those days will return as we bring in new generations of players that are going to get really good at the game, just kind of like what we were when we first started. So that's kind of the direction we're going to see things change and things progress over the next little while. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. That's kind of where the focus is going to be. So get back to the basics so people can have a strong understanding, because a lot of things that we do here in LG, we do for a certain reason. And they're a lot better and a lot easier than what we used to do. Add a few site tweaks to tools and stuff just to make them a little more user friendly, more effective per se, and then try to bring in some stuff that is a little bit new and different, right? Like the pick'em system is pretty neat, pretty cool. This head-to-head comparison system will be pretty cool. Lots of requests for a private messaging system on the website. With mobile support. That's one thing that I really, really want as well too. Like I'm on the website all the time. I would like to have that ability to have, like, I know on the old website we had that as well too. I like to be able to browse through the website, do some work, but also show myself as online so I can be contacted so that people have questions. It's kind of here's a question, here's a live answer. So it cuts down on the amount of PMs I wake up to every morning because I can answer questions a little bit more live. It helps for trade negotiations between teams. It just keeps people on the website, which I think is huge. Triz puts a lot of time and effort, and a lot of us put a lot of time and effort to make this website what it is. That I'd like to see people spend a little bit more time here and really get involved with the features and stuff that we have to offer. So those are things that I'm definitely pushing and putting the bug in the Triz's ear to see, what aspect can we bring in. I know I've asked the NHL owners right now on the PlayStation side, like, what's their wish list per se. And a lot of them have that on the wish list that they would love to see. That sort of aspect come back, right? So we'll see where it goes and what we can add in the next little while as we continue to grow the brand and grow the website.
Anything else you want to talk about or add before we take off? I know the playoff games are going to be starting about half hour in the NHL on the PSN side, and in an hour as games 4 and 5, I think, we're playing tonight.
No, that's pretty much all I really want to talk about. I really wanted to touch base and get my voice out to the PSN community again this season. Like I said, not playing on the PlayStation side and not having a PlayStation definitely is a disadvantage, and it makes it difficult. I feel disconnected at times from the league, so I wanted to make sure that I continue to spend the time with the PSN community, because I do feel that it was, as much as a hesitation it was in the beginning, due to the fact that it was hard bringing in people and being able to run both leagues at the same time to get them where they need to be was frustrating and stressful and difficult. I think it was one of the best decisions that we ever made as a website. So that being said, I just think that the PlayStation League for Season 3 was, I think it was a head and shoulders better season than what we saw in Season 2. And which is good. I think there was a lot of things we needed to improve on coming from Season 2, and I think we did a really good job of doing that. So I just really wanted to take my hat off, tip my hat to the PSN community to continue doing what they're doing, and to look forward to things that we're going to change and how we're going to improve the league, and just be active and involved, right? So if things are posted, which will be posted during the holidays, just to kind of get some feedback from the community, take the time to give your 2 cents. I literally read every single thread. Every single post in the thread. That's why I usually give a post rating on everything, to actually show you that I've actually taken the time to read what you wrote. So just really, really please take the time to keep continuing to contribute to LG. Obviously, the minds of 2,700 players on the PlayStation side are greater than just the single mind of my own. So I really want to utilize the community that we have. So I also think that that's one of the biggest reasons why I was selected to be a part of the Game Changers program, is because I have this amount of players at this competitive level at my fingertips. So I really want to make you all feel that you definitely are part of the process all the time and making the game and the league better. So just really wanted to say that. And I also wanted just to say too, it's the time of the year again. So it's Christmas holidays coming up. So I really hope that everyone has a safe and happy holiday spent with their families as we, take a break at the end of this week.
Brody McDonald again with us tonight. Thanks again, Brody, for joining me and for talking everything LG. We will try and do this again before we get started up for Season 4, which will be late in January, probably about a month from now. We'll get you back on and see where we are then.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, this kind of stuff I think holds a lot of value to the league. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing this again for sure.
All right, that's Brody McDonald. I'm T. Sibbs, and good luck to everybody tonight in the playoffs. And we will see you back with this show and the commissioner in about a month. Take care, everyone. Happy holiday.